Nice.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all have non-negotiables, right? Like for me, pineapple on pizza. What are things you never compromise on when it comes to taking care of yourself? Maybe it's hitting the gym, watching your favorite show, or making time for therapy. Life can get crazy with work, family, and everything else on your plate, and sometimes the things that make you feel good get pushed aside. But when life is busiest, that's when self-care, especially therapy, should be non-negotiable. Therapy isn't just for dealing with trauma or big life changes. It's a way to learn healthy coping skills, set boundaries, and become the best version of yourself. Whether or not you've been in therapy before, it can be a game changer in helping you handle everyday stress and challenges. If you've been thinking about starting therapy, BetterHelp is a great option. It's all online, super convenient, flexible, and tailored to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time, no extra charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. And we're kicking it off back for Split the Defense Hockey Podcast presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas since 2004. I'm Webby with CP and producer Ted in the booth as always. Penultimate preseason game for the Leafs. We have one more, and thank God. Thumbs up this episode, subscribe to our YouTube, leave us a comment. Now more than ever, we need you to download this show in podcast form. Leave us 5 stars there because you love us. That's why you're here, or you're an absolute sicko looking for extra hockey content. You're disgusting.
Fair enough.
So what'd you think of tonight's game, CP? We got a couple of candidates for first star. Who are you going to give it to?
I mean, I know like it's a tie. I mean, I'm giving it to Nicky Bobby. I mean, he's been like, this just kind of feels like his breakout year, breakout preseason. Tied the record, I think they said, for the most points and goals in a preseason. So
5.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of coming into his own, and obviously Stolar's just kind of right behind him there. So yeah.
Yeah, Nicky Bobby tonight. I think he cemented himself a position on this team. I'm thinking, it's going to be kind of hard to sit him down when he's scoring at a goal a game pace in the preseason. You got to see how long he can keep this up in the regular season, right? He scores 2 beauty tonight. The first one was a snipe, absolute snipe. Second, wheel and deal, toe drag, backhand, just disgusting, filthy. Pick your shorts up. Goalie had no chance. Poor Cam Talbot. Beautiful goals by Nicky Bobby. There's no way this guy doesn't make the team, right?
No, there's no way he's not on the team. I think clearly he's going to be like, the funny thing is like Pacioretty is, I think, the guy he's competing with, but like it seems like Pacioretty was guaranteed a spot, but Pacioretty also set him up on the second goal. So I mean, it is, I don't know. There's no question. Nick Robertson's got the spot on the team, whether it's on the left wing or the right wing. Yeah, he's definitely locked in my opinion.
He's definitely locked in. Now, talking about Pacioretty, we had another game of Pacioretty. Did you like his game, and where does he play is what I'd like to know.
Yeah, like Pacioretty, I think, felt a little bit slower tonight. Like he does make some decent plays, but I feel like he's like, I don't know. The one thing is I've been watching a lot of Blue Jays, and I find that the more that the Blue Jays kind of invest in older players, the more like I've been disappointed with them. And so I would rather give, like, if it's going to be like we might lose Pontus Holmberg or Bobby McMahon because Pacioretty's in the lineup, like I'm not sure how on board I am at this point. I just don't know if Pacioretty will be like a huge difference maker as far as the team is concerned. Like, I don't know if you like, do you have a different opinion on like Pacioretty's impact on the team?
Well, Omar tweeted earlier, Tic Tac Tomar, famous
Okay.
Omar, tweeted Pacioretty, Tavares, Robertson as a third line idea, or probably not a second line, so it's got to be a third line. I don't know if that hinders or helps Robertson. I think his game would be better tailored with different type players. I think both of those guys want to shoot as well. He'd probably be better with guys who like to feed the puck. I think Robertson's got to play in the top six, and I think Pacioretty probably is going to fill a bottom six role. Um, I personally think Pacioretty's going to make the team just because of his veteran presence and this, coaching staff and management and the rah good old boys, buddy. I just have this feeling that those are the guys that are going to keep a guy like Pacioretty around. So I think he's probably going to be one of the guys that flips in. Now, we will get into Stolar's shutout because that is probably the second biggest story, but we're already on this. Yeah. So we had a bunch of guys tonight playing, and I wanted to know who playing in the forward group tonight is a lock to make the team. I counted 6, but that's with Reeves as a 13th forward and Holmberg and Dewey going on waivers. So in the lineup tonight, you're going to have Yarncroke, Kampf, Lawrence, McMahon, Pacioretty, and Robertson. That could be your bottom 6. Because right now, on the practice lines, the bottom 6 was Dewar, Holmberg, Reeves, Verberg, Blandisi, Shaw.
Right.
So everybody else is staying. Domi, Tavares, Nylander, Nyes, Matthews, Marner. Everybody else is staying. So they might not be the exact lines, but all those guys are definitely staying. So I think the 6 guys that I just mentioned, do you not see that being more of a bottom 6? I could definitely see some sort of piece together of a bottom 6 out of those veterans. The question is can they afford it? And I think that's the biggest question that we have in all of this.
Yeah, like I don't hate that. Like the thing, I kind of like all of these like bottom 6 players that were kind of in contention here. Like Lorentz, I think, has grown on me. Camp showed a little bit more tonight where he might be worth a little bit more than some of the other players. But there seems to be, like, as far as I'm hearing, that someone has to go to make cap room. And so, like, just thinking about it, like, who's the guy then out at, like, it's hard for me to think of the whole roster, but who's the guy that's got to go if that's our bottom 6?
I think it's got to be Calle Yarncroke, because if you have to get rid of somebody for cap implications, it's got to be, because he doesn't play center naturally, and we have so many wingers, and that's the guys that we're trying to keep. So I think it's got to be Yarncroke. He doesn't have a spot in the top 6 anymore, and we have enough injury insurance. We have enough guys that want to come up and play. Like, McMahon can do top 6. Robertson's trying to get in the top 6. Pacioretty could fill in a pinch. But, like, these guys all could that are going to play in the bottom 6. So it's not like you're even keeping them as backup at this point, right? I think Calle Yarncroke is the odd man out on the Toronto Maple Leafs after 5 preseason games.
Yeah, I think just like what you said, because there's so many wingers kind of in flux here, I think that it makes sense. Camp, like, even if Camp ended up being the guy that had to go because of cap, like, I feel like Lorentz could fill in just fine in his position. Like, this is a guy that we're talking about, like, 6 or 7 minutes a night type of a line. Especially if John Tavares is going to be the third line, like that. Well, there's a lot of minutes when you spread out the lines of 3 kind of, big lines. So,
Lorentz is a winger, though. Lawrence is actually, it's not Lorentz, it's Lawrence.
Sorry. He plays center too, though. He's a centerman.
He wasn't last year when he won a cup at his best.
Well, he can be. I mean, like, he wasn't even like an everyday player last year as well. Like, that's another thing. But I do like his game, and like, he made some smart plays in the D zone. He's fast and big. So, like, I don't like, the thing is, if like when we paid Camp the 2.4,
big in the D area. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like, right, paying Camp it, like, it's a fill-in. Like, he could be the third line center if you need him to. But I think that kind of ship has sailed. Like, I don't see him as good enough to be that player. So, like, I wouldn't be upset if either of those guys go, because I just think there's so many guys now that can play in the bottom. Even Killian, like, if he ends up being a guy, like he can do something, like
Killian. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, but like, we're talking about a 4th line centerman. Like, it's not like our 3rd, 2nd
There's
line.
so many guys before Jacob Killian, though. So many names before Jacob Killian. Like,
I'm just saying,
he's like the 18th forward.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of guys that can fill in on a center 4th line. It's not the end of the world if we have to get rid of either guy. I just, like, there's a lot of guys that are cheaper that are like aren't a significant downgrade, and it's all about cap with this team. And yeah, if it's Yarncroke or Camp that have to go, I wouldn't be upset. It'd suck if like Bobby McMahon had to be the guy to go. Like there's no way that that's happening. So, that's a left wing fourth liner, I'd say, in like the best world, and he can fill in up the lineup. So, Pontus Holmberg the same. Like I feel like there's just too many aspects of his game that I like that, for a cheap player, I think it's worth it dollar amounts. If this was a non-cap world, I would say no, you keep both Yarncrack and Camp because they're better. But like that's not the world we live in. So
no, that's exactly fair. That's not the world we live in, and that's not why we think this way. I think that's part of the fun of hockey. You get into some of the other leagues where they can spend, and it doesn't really affect as much, or it makes a little less sense. But this dollar for dollar stuff really makes sense in hockey, and it's a lot of the fun is determining the value of the player's contract, not just what he's playing. Some people hate that, but I think it's a lot of fun debating the business on whether a guy fits the role of the team and should be making more than another guy who's doing the same job. I really, really enjoy speaking about that.
I'm kind of sit on the fence. I enjoy the conversations, but at the same time, it's so much more fun when just your team can go out and just get whoever he wants. So,
like Anthony Stolarz and a shutout.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
that was intense, man. But this guy is intense. Is that the right word? Anthony Stolarz is something.
Yeah,
man, that guy is good.
Yeah,
he is good. He's made some really flashy saves. Now I don't know if that's just flash or if that's pure athleticism. And the shutout tonight, that really gave me a lot of faith in this guy. And I really want to discuss what you think his role between like Stolarz versus Woll's roles on this team. You think it's going to be a more split thing? Like Stolarz, I think he was like leading the league last year in gold saves above expected. It was damn close. If he wasn't leading the league, and Woll, he's somewhat unproven. They want to give him the benefit of the doubt. They want him to run the season as the starter. It seems he's playing with the starting group, but he's only played like 30 minutes of hockey this preseason. And Stolarz has played more, and Stolarz looks really good, and he's, I don't know. Do you think there's a chance that they split rather than having a starter backup traditional style tandem?
Yeah, I think it's more likely they split. Especially there's kind of some rumors that like Joseph Woll has had an injury this preseason already. And no one wants to come out with it because why hasn't he played more than just like half a game? So yeah, I think that it's inevitable that he's going to have to play a lot. And I think that was part of getting someone like that. The stat that he led the league in was high danger saves, or save percentage and high danger. And yeah, he's just always kind of been a really steady type of a player. So I do like him. He seems very just like calm and relaxed in there. And yeah, he can still make a flashy save. So
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like I wouldn't want to say though like I want to give him a ton of time. Like you don't want to rely on this guy for like 50 to 60 games as a starter.
No.
And so I think that like if you could split it and he plays like 41 like right down the middle 41 and you kind of try and see what you got. The problem is like if Woll becomes like really like injury prone here. And then Stolarz is your like starter because then you're going with Hildeby or Matt Murray as your backup. Like then he kind of is pushed into a starter role, which would be scary. So I want more clarity on this Joseph Woll situation, and because I don't want Stolarz to just be like the starter.
Yeah, nobody really knows Joseph Woll's health situation right now as a fan, only behind closed doors and maybe a few insiders who aren't sharing. But the rumors of him having an injury could be something substantial, but it could just be the fact that this guy has been, since he's been here, injury prone. He does have stronger ankles than me, but weak ankles. Like he's got a problem with his lower body, with his ankles specifically. And so if that's going to be something that ails him, you don't want to push him to be a 60-game goaltender. You want him to be more of your 45, 50 and have a really good backup. And I just wonder if Stolarz ends up playing his way into taking more games, and I wonder if maybe Woll doesn't even last. I really hope he does. I'm not wishing anything bad against the guy, I promise.
Yeah,
But
of course.
but on the other end of things, I think that Stolarz definitely has a chance to steal more games. Maybe not the starting position, but more games than we expected when he first signed the contract.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's been a guy that I've been very confident in playing as a fantasy goalie, actually. Like I've streamed him in as a goalie many times. So yeah, he's been kind of consistent for a few years now.
Yeah, I know. I've heard his name, and I do remember him being a good stream in fantasy, but for the life of me, I really couldn't remember him. Actually, when we first signed him, I was thinking it was the guy from the Ducks, Dostal. I was like, oh, we signed Dostal. Oh, no, that's not him. That's Stolarz. Did he play for the Ducks too? Does Stolarz play for the Ducks? I can't quite remember.
It's evading, like he may, like, yeah, it's evading me where he was. He may have been John Gibson's backup maybe at one point,
Maybe.
but
I know
yeah.
he definitely was in Florida last year. I know that for sure.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
like, where
yeah.
was he before that?
Yeah,
I'd have to look it up.
I should know because he's been on my fantasy team so many times, but yeah,
You should at least have an idea. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
No idea.
All right. So let's get into our DraftKings here. TD or a tutty, taking it to the house. Whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. You have game lines, passing props, rushing props. You can bet on the first quarter or the first half if you feel like your team starts slow or charges out the gate. I know how my team starts. Ready to do a touchdown to answer your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. And get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
7369 in Connecticut. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
I know this may be a little out in left field, but why not? Alex Steves, should he be in the conversation for making this team? We just lost Nick Abruzzese. Is this guy just going to be a career AHLer? I mean, I like his game. He's not afraid to muck it up. I certainly noticed him a few times tonight. What do you think about Alex Steves?
I always notice Alex Steves. Yeah, like you said, he likes to muck it up. He's not afraid of the dirty areas. I think that Alex Steves is. I'm not sure he'll be anything other than just like a replaceable player. Just kind of a guy that, like, if you have to put him into your fourth line in the middle of the season, you can, but I just don't see how his ceiling is much higher than that. I have cheered for him. Like, I really like him every time he's in there, and he's like someone that I thought could be a more consistent, third or fourth line guy in the past, but I just feel like his skills have almost like plateaued. I'm not sure if I'm being too harsh on him or what. And I'm not sure also how old is he? Like, is he 22, 23, or is he 24, 25,
Yeah, I think he's more in the 24, 25.
Yeah, and like some players can like kind of have a later resurgence, but more often than not, it's
24.
20. Okay, like he's not quite like. It's funny how
He'll be
there's such a
25 in
difference.
December.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
See, I was about to say it's funny how a difference
oh.
it is between 24 and 25, but I mean he's basically 25, so yeah, I think he is like just a. I'm pretty happy actually with the depth of the Leafs. Like I think that there is a lot of guys that can fill in, and I wouldn't be upset of it at all. So, yeah, I'm not so sure though that like there's a huge ceiling on this guy.
Fair enough. Easton Cowan, he's played like every preseason game, I think. And he's more than likely heading back to junior. Probably just getting him comfortable with the team, seeing more men in competition because he's going to go play literal children. What a stupid rule that is, that he has to go back to junior. But
sure.
Do you think there's a chance that he plays his first 9 games with the Leafs at the beginning of the season? Or is that more going to be a thing at the end of the season?
Yeah, like I think if there was going to be injuries, then he would be the guy you'd keep around for those 9 games. But everyone just seems to be coming back, and I don't see a spot for him. Like it was nice to see he got an assist tonight, but I think the skills he just needs to get a little bit quicker and a little bit more refined. And I think the motor has kind of died a little bit with the more intense hockey. And that's one of the things that makes him like one of the best junior players. Is the motor just never quits. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think he'll just learn a lot from this. Like, thinking that he's kind of come a long way, but there's a lot of NHL skills that he is missing. And yeah, I guess we'll just see. He just like Berube says it like I forget how he put it, but basically like quit it with the junior shit. And it like that's kind of how I see him playing. Like there is a lot of junior stuff in there. Gets like kind of like locked down in corners, making passes through players that just NHL players are going to knock down passes. You can't just pass through them. So yeah, I think that he's just kind of probably has to take this as a lesson. And I still think though that like his floor is almost like a I don't know, like a Matthew Nice. Like I think that because he does have that motor and willing to get into the areas, has a good touch. Like I think that he will be on it. He's an NHL player. There's no question. It's just not.
Did you see the slick pass he made between somebody's legs tonight? He was skating up the ice and made just a disgusting pass. Like
right. Yeah.
That might be the junior shit you're talking about, but like you can't be afraid of the game. I heard that I think on Kipper and Bourne today. You still have to go out there and own and take risks, and like you can't respect the game too much. You have to respect it, but you can't too much. But did you see that pass I'm talking about? He flipped it back in between his legs, and I was thinking like that was almost like a passing drill, the amount of space he had. Like that was an all-star passing drill, and he just nailed it right on the tape of somebody else behind the Red Wings player.
Even like the pass to Nick Robertson was tape to tape too. Like, he has the skills. That's what I'm saying. They're just not quite refined enough, I think, for just NHL.
So
but if
do you want him to go back?
Games, sorry, go ahead.
Do you want him to go back to junior and get 150 points, or do you want him to go back to junior and be penalty killing and in defensive situations? And is that what you're looking for out of this player?
I mean, ideally, you have him doing everything. Like I would love him to be on the PK and also score 150 points and come back with, just with a lot of confidence. And that's in a 1 year older where you're a little bit stronger and he can use that to his advantage. So, I think he's going to be all of that. I think, PK, like power play, like second power play type of a player. And I think that. Yeah, he's got a bright future, and depending on cap, if you can give him some more regular season games, you do. But I'm just not sure that if everyone's healthy, that you have the room at all.
How many penalties did the Leafs take tonight?
I think like 3. Is that?
I might be wrong. It might be 19 now, but I have 18 straight penalties killed in the preseason. That's a thing.
I mean, that's pretty
impressive.
Yeah,
that's something different for this team. That's something I'm looking forward to. I hope that continues on. Now, it's a whole bunch of guys who are working their bag off, trying to make the team every other game. So you have to consider that. I really haven't felt like, the big guys have played a lot. It feels like I've seen a lot of the fringe guys, the guys that we aren't sure if they're going to make the team or kind of at this point are sure they're not going to make the team. We've seen a lot of that and not so much of the actual guys. But 18 straight penalties killed, you have to think some of those pairs are going to be able to stick together. And that's a positive sign for this team.
Yeah, like tonight was obviously a true tryout game, and I think next game, I think we both predicted this last podcast that it's one last time to see what you got in everyone, and then next game, you go with basically what your starting lineup's going to be. So it'll tell us a lot next game, and I wouldn't be shocked if maybe like the fourth line is a bit of a tryout because Camp was in tonight, and Robertson and Pacioretty. So if like they maybe went with something a little different on the fourth line, I wouldn't be shocked, But
so do you think, excuse me, do you think that next game, do you think we see a real team? Do you think they're going to have any more tryouts?
Like I said, like maybe one line of a tryout. But yeah, I think it's going to be like basically what we're going with,
So like Matthews and Marner are going to sit, or like you got to have the top power play unit rolling. You got to have the PK guys who are going to PK together. You can't just start slapping this together game one when the wins count. Like, I mean, every win's going to count here. We don't know how these systems are going to work for these guys. We don't know if they're going to be comfortable. I expect some pain to start the season. So like, I don't really want them to be throwing games in the preseason here away with just trying out these guys when you have so many guys, Craig Berube. Your job is to just pick a fucking guy, pick a couple of guys, put them in there, make the bottom lines. Let's just see what the actual team is. Like, I'm so sick of preseason hockey and seeing, like, I love Nikita Grubankin, but like, he's not making the team this year. He's not. No. Love the guy. He's like the 15th forward. Like, he's there. He's a couple injuries away, but like, he's not making the team. Can we just put the guys on the ice that are going to play for the regular season? That's what I'm hoping we see Saturday at home against the Red Wings. Are you with me on that? Or do you think that there's a couple of guys, and can you name them, who still deserve tryouts?
Yeah, I think it's like basically, like I was saying, I think it's going to be basically the team. Just, like David Kampf has been into a lot of games, so if he's not on the fourth line, I would say that like he's probably going to be in the starting lineup still. Like there might be just one or two guys that are sitting out because they've played more than everyone else. And also, like you mentioned Matthews, but Matthews has also been kind of had an upper body injury that no one really wants to talk a lot about. So, like I hope that we see him. I hope we see him, but you never really, can tell with him what, every injury with Matthews, I'm not sure if it's something that's going to prevent him from being like, the goal scorer he is, or if it's just like very precautionary. So
don't even say that. Don't even speak that into existence.
Well, he's had so many hand injuries. I'm just always so concerned about his hands.
Pump the brakes. Yeah, relax. Okay. Slow yourself. Yeah. Holy. Yeah, we don't need to be doing that. All right, why don't we wrap this one up? Do you have anything else you want to touch on from this game before we get out of here?
The only thing that really I noticed tonight was like we have some decent right shot defensemen now. Like Philip Meyer again was pretty decent. Topi Nimula was okay. I think that the depths of right shot defensemen isn't as bare as it was 2 years ago when I think we only had one.
What does that mean for Timothy Liljegren?
Well, again, like if that's money that can be saved, like I think that there is a replaceable player for him. He didn't stand out to me tonight that he was better than those two, like by a long shot, especially by over $2 million. So I think if you could get something for Timothy Liljegren, I think they would have done it already. I think most of the league probably just agrees that there's not much there. Like if he's replaceable by an $800,000 player, like not trading for him.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody paid Justin Hall. So, like, I mean, if you're going to pay Justin Hall, like, at least Timothy Liljegren gets Justin Hall money, right? No?
I mean, like, at least, Justin Hall can at least clear the front of the net. I mean, he might be, like, trip over the blue line.
He probably could if he tried, but he's big for nothing.
Yeah, but, like, Timothy Liljegren just doesn't know the puck's right on his feet. Like, it happened again tonight, where he's always looking around. It's like, dude, the puck's, like, right underneath you. His awareness just is lacking for me, so... Yeah, I think that I don't care if he's in the lineup or not.
You saw that sick Callum Ritchie goal where he like faked the shot and then sniped it in?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Timothy Liljegren, except for it's an accident. And then he makes a nice pass up the ice. It's just like, whoop, with that first one. Yeah, not a huge fan of Timothy Liljegren. Yeah. Hopefully Yanni Hakanpää, who joined the team in, I think, Brackenbridge or something. I can't remember the name of the town. Some town on the ice. Hopefully he's back with the team and, he can end up taking that spot. That $3 million is going to be very useful because I certainly see upgrades in the future of this Toronto Maple Leafs sometime around the deadline. So you got anything else or can we wrap it there?
Yeah, wrap it. Yeah.
Let's do it. It's a wrap. Thanks for joining us for Split the Defense. Leafs post-game presented by LaForce Electrical Contractors, serving the Kingston and surrounding area since 2004. We appreciate your comments. Hit that like button. Subscribe on YouTube. Tell your friends. And download the podcast. Rate it 5 stars. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.